Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today we're taking a look at the 2022 TCU Spring Game that just finished up Friday night. Trying to get as many spring games as I can in, and I'm a loser. Don't have much going on Friday night, so we're taking a look at this TCU Spring Game. Again, if you guys like the content, 800 and almost 50 subscribers on the channel. The support just means so much. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Chopping it up about ball in the comment section. We're getting through a lot of spring games. We'll obviously be doing our summer scouting for each Power 5 team as well in the summer. So if you guys are new, TCU fans, if you guys like the content, go subscribe to the channel. There'll be a lot of Big 12 college football and some TCU content as well. Let's get into this spring game. Obviously, it starts with the quarterback situation. Chandler Morris, Max Duggan, two guys who have played a little bit for TCU. Obviously, Max Duggan being the more experienced of the two in terms of playing time down there in Fort Worth. This spring game, I really do think Chandler Morris's game fits what Sonny Dykes is trying to do. Obviously, you have that new offensive regime coming in. Sonny Dykes likes to spread the ball around. He kind of wants a gunslinger quarterback who's very accurate with the ball and can make all the throws. I do think that fits Chandler Morris's game a little bit better. And you saw Chandler Morris connect really well with Darius Davis with a great back shoulder throw. Davis goes up and makes a really, really good play on the football too, and really good coverage as well on the back end. It just was good on good, and Davis ended up being able to make the play. Duggan also looked pretty solid. He was able to use his legs a couple times. Obviously, in the spring game, you don't get to use your legs because they're not really tackling the quarterback. So a lot of plays get blown dead. Both of these guys look good. Sonny Dykes has said that he's comfortable with both of them starting. I expect this quarterback competition to go all the way through fall camp for two reasons. One, these guys seem to be neck and neck from everything that I read in the spring game that I watched. They both seem like they have a good command of the offense, and there's not a guy that really has emerged. And two, you want to keep both of those guys out of the transfer portal. If Sonny Dykes goes to name Morris the starter in the summer, you might see Duggan's name wind up in the transfer portal. So a couple of different reasons why I don't think Sonny Dykes will be naming a starter anytime soon. But I'm very optimistic about both these quarterbacks really being able to be a trustworthy QB1 in this system in a year that I think the Big 12 is really gettable. Obviously, OU's kind of dominated the Big 12 for the last couple of years. They're going through a lot of new coaches, a lot of new players in and out of that system. I think it's going to take them a couple of years to kind of find their ground again. This Big 12, I think it's wide open. Baylor, Oklahoma State, they looked good last year, both losing a lot of talent to the NFL draft, especially on the defensive side of the ball for both teams. So TCU, if they're able to find a quarterback, get some spark in this offense, I really do like their chances to make a run at that Big 12 title. Let's get into this running back room. It's a loaded running back room. Obviously, Zach Evans transferring out hurts. He's going to be really good at Ole Miss. He was good at TCU when he was healthy. A really productive guy. I think 7 yards per carry. Like, he's a special athlete. The good thing is they got a staple of backs. They add Traylon Smith coming in from Arkansas as well, who's a proven guy who can do it in the SEC. Miller, I always mess up this guy's name. Demercado, and then Imani Bailey, the transfer from Louisiana, also look good. So they get a staple of backs who I think Sonny Dykes in that offensive regime is going to trust running the football. I think the story does end up at that offensive line. You got a bunch of guys who could be starters on this team. Taking a look at this depth chart, Steve Avila was really good for TCU last year. They get a transfer in Alan Ali, who's coming from SMU with Coach Sonny Dykes. Both guys at the interior, they'll both start. Whoever starts at center, looking like it's going to be Ali, and then Avila is going to kick out to one of the guard spots. They're going to be kind of the staples, and Sonny Dykes talked about. He's got a good feel for 7, 8 guys in this rotation, which is good, especially this early on in the process. You want to have a deep stable of offensive linemen because the truth is guys get banged up specifically on that offensive line. Having multiple guys, 6, 7, 8 deep guys that you can trust to go and give you some good reps and snaps is going to be big. I'm not quite sure what it's going to end up shaking out as. I think this is going to also be kind of something that's decided in fall camp once things start heating up. But I think the good thing is you're going to know who's going to be there. You're going to have a solid offensive line. Pretty optimistic about that TCU offensive line. But let's get to what I think I'm the most excited for. And if you watch the spring game, you should be the most excited for this wide receiver room headed by Quentin Johnson, who's a guy that a top 100 recruit coming in the same class as Zach Evans. So this will be his third year with the team. He is 6'4". He's a slender frame, but he is so smooth with the ball. They gave him an end around, ended up scoring a touchdown today in the spring game. He didn't get that many reps, but you don't need him to get many reps. You saw him last year kind of lighting it up. From what I've seen of this guy, really, really good ball skills for a 6'4" guy. He has an absolute burner straight line speed as well. That's what you want to look for. Good ball skills, your big body, and you have good straight line speed. But he's also a very smooth mover, which is kind of what separates some of those big guys from being just average, solid wide receivers and guys who can be kind of the best in the country, which I really do think Johnston can be, because he is so smooth creating separation as well. When you combine a guy with really big speed, who's big, he's fast, and then he can separate with good ball skills, he kind of checks all the boxes. I'm really excited. I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He's going to be awesome. But there's a couple guys that I'm also really excited for in this running back room. Davis looked good. He had a phenomenal catch. He's a guy who's a great punt returner as well, so he's going to give you some juice if you just get the ball in his hands. And the guy that nobody's really talking about, Gunnar Henderson, they were talking about him in the spring game, just earns a scholarship. 27. He's a gritty slot guy who's going to catch the ball, and he's really good after the catch. He runs the ball hard after the catch. He's going to be a guy that's going to have like 40, 50 catches, because whoever's playing quarterback, whether it's Morris or Duggan, is going to love a guy who can separate on those short intermediate routes over the middle and get some yards after the catch. That is what Gunnar Henderson can do. Extremely excited about what this dude brings to the table. And if you're a fan of football and a fan of tough physical football players who might be a little undersized, Gunnar Henderson's your guy. Former walk-on, earns a scholarship. I really do think this guy will play a role in this offense. Taking a look at what I saw from the defense side of the ball, very excited about the new scheme. They obviously get that defensive coordinator from Tulsa, Joe Gillespie. They're switching up. Previously, you saw that 4-2-5 look. Now we're going 3-3-5. And really the scheme, you see this with Iowa State, is just trying to get more speed, more playmakers on the field. But starting at that defensive line, it's probably arguably the most important position group when you're playing that 3-3-5, because you need guys to be able to get after the passer. And I think they got a good, stable group of guys who are going to be able to do that. Cole Ellison, Dylan Horton, Layden Watson. Those are the three guys that really popped to me. Dylan Horton just has an absolute motor. Again, in that 3-5-5 scheme, I'm not saying that right. 3-3-5. We're not trying to get too many guys on the field. In that 3-3-5 scheme, when you're having only 3 down linemen, a lot of times you're dropping 8, rushing 3. It's important to have defensive linemen who can win, but not only can they win, they're tenacious. That's what you see out of Iowa State. They have 3 guys who just get after the quarterback, and if they don't win on that first time, a lot of them getting double teamed. They just keep plugging away, and if that coverage with the 8 guys dropping back holds up, you can get a lot of sacks. You can force a lot of turnovers, and you also just can give the defense a lot of different looks. But guys like Cole Ellison, Dylan Horton, Landon Watson, really, really excited what they bring to the table. Looking at that interior, Dominic Williams, a true freshman, 6'2", 325 pounds. He's going to start as a true freshman on the interior, which is really rare when you're getting young guys from high school or still 18, 19-year-olds. Like, he's an early enrollee, and he was dominating this game. Really, really hard to block, really hard to move off the spot, plays with good leverage, and he's obviously big. But he just has that rare strength that an 18-year-old brings that you don't really see that much of. He's going to be a contributor. And then Jaquez Soros, who's another guy, was a top 200 recruit, highly coveted guy out of high school. I think he brings a lot of juice as well. And so looking at the defensive line, I really am excited about what they bring. But possibly what I'm most excited for is a linebacker and secondary unit. They just have a lot of speed, and they have a lot of length. Starting with this linebacker room, D. Winters, Jamoy Hodge, and then a guy that you guys are familiar with them. I think they were the 2 leading tacklers for this defense. They bring the neck pads, which absolutely looks dope. I love the neck pad look out of the linebackers. But they're long, rangy, fast linebackers. And that's kind of the purpose of the 3-3-5. Getting guys who are long and have speed, can fly around the field and go make plays. That's why you have these guys. And I really think those guys can be kind of the key members of this defense. But kind of an oddball guy is Marcel Brooks, who came in from LSU 2 years ago. First year there, they couldn't really find him a spot on the defense side of the ball. So his second year, he switches over to wide receiver, which was, I don't love the idea, He's a great athlete on the defense side of the ball. I feel like you just got to develop him, let him try to make some plays for you. But he's going to be a guy that I think is going to start. Now, former wide receiver, you can tell he was a wide receiver. He still has that wide receiver lower half, kind of some skinnier legs. I think in the summer and fall, when he kind of fills in that frame, he's only 210 pounds, which is a relatively undersized linebacker. He has really good ball skills, and he's long. You take a look at this guy. Really long arms when he's dropping back, running with tight ends, which he did a few times today. Really successful. He's a good athlete. He's violent. Good blitzing off the edge, too, with those long arms. He's got good bursts around the edge. He's going to be a guy that I just hope they can figure out a way that to put him on the field and let him go make plays. Again, a former top 50 recruit in the country at LSU, comes over to TCU, hasn't really found his spot on the team. I think this year with that 3-3-5 defense that they're going to try to run, trying to get playmakers on that back end, I think Marcel Brooks is going to be able to find a spot to be a playmaker for the TCU Horned Frogs. And then at the secondary, obviously Travius Hodges, he did not play today. He's going to be an all Big 12 guy, stud cornerback. But I really, really like to play of Bud Clark at that safety spot. He's another guy who's got the good range. He's long. He obviously gave up a touchdown to Darius Davis, but it was just good on good. Like, he made a play on the ball, and Davis just made a better play, and it was a better ball from Chandler Morris. In the spring game, that's what you want to see. Like, a good play by the defender who tried to make play on the ball, was really up in this guy's grill. Davis just goes up, makes a good play, and Chandler Morris delivers a really good ball. Good on good. It's a good rep from Bud Clark, who just couldn't come down with it. He almost had another interception on a deflected pass as well. So my take on the spring game, again, it was only one half, but you got to see a couple drives from both the quarterbacks in the battle. I thought both looked really good. I do think Chandler Morris is going to be the guy to kind of win this job, just because the scheme of what Sonny Dykes is trying to run, kind of the gunslinger mentality. I think Chandler Morris is a little bit more accurate. He's got a quicker release. Just a little bit better arm talent than I think Max Duggan brings. Now, the one knock on Chandler Morris is I think he had 4 balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. I get he's 5'11". He's got to figure out a way to manipulate those throwing windows and get the ball past the defensive line. I'm a Michigan fan. I saw Cade McNamara up at Michigan do it. It is so frustrating when guys are open and you can't throw it over the defensive line. Something that Chandler Morris and Sonny Dykes and that offensive coaching staff is going to need to figure out, because you just can't have that too many times. And having 4 in only 4 drives is a lot. At one point, it happened twice in a row. But I don't like this team in a Big 12 season that I think is relatively weak. There's not a preseason favorite. Iowa State's not as good this year. I definitely don't think Oklahoma will be as consistent or as good as they have been in the past. It is a gettable conference for TCU, who's kind of struggled with Gary Patterson the last couple of years. New scheme on both sides of the ball. Very optimistic. It seems like the buy-in's high. People are excited about Sonny Dykes. I'm excited about Sonny Dykes. He's awesome at SMU. Let's see what the TCU Horned Frogs can do. That's a wrap on a recap for this 2022 spring game. Again, I appreciate all the support you guys have shown to the channel. Whether you're here for the NFL draft, whether you're here for college football, we're talking a lot of football, specifically college. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll catch you next time on some more spring games. We got a full slate this Saturday, tomorrow. Very excited to get to it. Appreciate you guys watching. Talk to y'all later. Peace.